Screening broadcast. Screening broadcast. Can you make the images in the carousel all down? Wait. Oh, don't do this to me, open code again. Oh boy, the client application crashes still sometimes. Okay, but it remembers everything. Just give it these. Skip here button is nested inside the button. Fix the mobile's extended uses the class name wrapping about uses that. Okay. Could be a summary. Okay, perfect. And then the plan shape again unprompted. Yeah, that's the point. Okay, that's good. And that's not really the thing here, so maybe we might want to use a new session for these. And just a small minor thing. We'll get into these right now. So we'll get into the stream main topic in a second. And we'll talk about two things today. We'll do demo and we'll talk about world models for education. All right, perfect. So while it's doing these, although I don't want, yeah, okay, it actually broke the thing. So, all right, so we will look at things like these. Although I don't know, I don't want these to reset the thing, so I don't know how long it'll take. But it's fine. We'll see what happens. I mean, if we get a glitch because I'm working on localhost right now, I improved. I added a few things, and I want to explain because I want to test them now. But I want to explain why these things make sense. And so we will probably need two things. We will need Excalidraw, and we will need basically to start from scratch. And how's it all going? Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like this. Maybe I can give it an example. Although we'll see if it actually fixes it. Yeah. Just keep the images. Just let the image. Just let the images zoom, man. Just thinking too much. I actually rarely use Sonnet. I use Opus. Why does it think so much? Oh, it talks too much as well. Let's see what it does. I'll test. I'm just gonna test it in a second. Yeah, now it's fixed. Perfect. Now it feels better. These things were making me nervous. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. We love these. We love these. Perfect. Cool. Awesome. But today we're going to be learning about what are tensors and how do they generalize matrices. Let's do this quick session. We want to test a few things here. So we want to test a bit sort of the human takeover controls. And you've noticed already that I've done one important change recently, which is that I've removed the manual versus automatic mode, and it's actually been a purposeful decision because the reason behind these is that um, I'm trying to now do an analysis on what are the interactions in the data that I'm gathering out of these, because essentially we want to basically build a world model for tutoring, for learning, right? And really tutoring actually. Tutoring, self-learning, maybe it's not tutoring, maybe it's really learning, self-learning, learning, whatever. Not even self-learning, just learning, right? And the whole thing here is you're navigating a landscape of things, right? And so I think that the what we're now using a harness for is something that eventually we want to have a model that is able to do end to end. And by these, I mean that the model should be able to, it's like a driving model, it's a policy thing where essentially everything that is happening, everything that I'm saying, everything that I'm doing, even everything that I'm even doing actually triggers the model to check whether anything, like how should the model react. Like think of these as right now what's happening is this is my display, and we have a bunch of tools in here. We have a bunch of tools in here. Sorry, I'm bad at these. We have a bunch of tools. There's Helios Tutor, there's something else in here, and then it's just myself, speaking out loud, right? So I'm talking out loud, uh, and I'm this guy here. And so essentially, but the way what's happening behind the scenes is we're sending data to Grok every uh, every 10 seconds, something like this, right? There's a heartbeat. Um, then this is now Grok here. Grok has a bunch of context files and whatnot. Grok has a lot of information here, right? So Grok has also files. Grok has like a bunch of things that I've been sending and using and whatever, and screenshots. So we're sending here things like tool usage, transcripts, whatever. What else we're sending? Transcripts. We're sending screenshots, whatever, right? Like EG, a bunch of stuff, right? And but that happens every 10 seconds, right? I believe it is every 10 seconds. It's just basically storage, right? And then what's happening is there is another loop, another thing that happens basically every 5 seconds. That's the analysis loop, right? So essentially, like Grok is basically making decisions based off of these, but these decisions are essentially very specific. There's a prompt. It's called the analysis prompt, and this prompt is very specific. It contains info about like calculate a gap score, evaluate whether evaluate sort of evaluate whether student can move on, and decide if probes needs to be generated, right? But essentially, it's an LLM that is using these pieces of information for that. Now, what we want to do is we want to have something that is similar to what a model in a self-driving car does, right? Like if you look at self-driving, it doesn't work like this. You don't have an LLM in your car that's looking at the at the camera feed and is like, oh boy, we should steer a little bit left because it's too slow. Um, so you want these things to be in the model, right? It's not a chat based or a prompt based turn type of conversation that an LLM is basically boxed into being. It's not next character prediction, but it's basically next action in the policy type of prediction, right? So what a world model does is essentially it it predicts what's gonna happen and what should happen, right? So uh, Grok, give me a summary of what uh, OpenPilot OpenPilot's model or policy does and how it's built, high level. Um, how does it differ from an LLM? It's so essentially it's trained on what actions the policy has a domain do. I think they call it the policy, and the policy has an action domain, as in like what actions can it do, right? It has acceleration, it has brakes, and it has steering. So it has different dimensions, and then essentially the policy outputs what to do. Um, and in our case, we would have to think of the policy as like the policy being something like there's a probe direction, right? Should I nudge the student more? Should I ask more things here? Then there's another dimension which is the session plan. Should I basically adapt what's coming ahead because it's not really going the way that I want to? So I think of this as the route. Um, and what else? I don't know, right? We have to think about this. So the long term, we want to build that kind of world model, and we that's what we're trying to do is basically build that tool that lets us gather this data, and that we can also then build a simulation against, so that we can essentially scale the training of these, right? So OpenPilot's core models are world model plus a smaller driving policy. Together, they form a modern end-to-end driving system that directly turns camera images into steering and increasingly longitudinal controls. The world model, it learns the dynamics of the real world driving. Given a short history of a camera frames, usually narrow plus wide view, and past actions, steering, acceleration, and implicit ego pose, it predicts realistic feature video. So it's a world model that it predicts what's going to happen when you steer left to the image that you're seeing, right? And we want to do something similar, as in like we want to predict what's going to happen if I ask this question to the student, this probe to the student, right? Um, and then if it should be the frames and the ideal next action. So what will be the ideal next action? Then the driving policy, it's a much smaller casual transformer. Is the actual driver. It takes the same camera observations plus driver desire signals, lane change, in intent, etc. And oh, that's interesting. Okay, and directly outputs the next steering curvature and acceleration commands. Lateral control is fully end-to-end, narrow, partially narrow in experimental mode. So the deployed system runs the policy in real time on the car's hardware. The world model lives in the cloud offline for training and simulation. Exactly. So the policy, the driving policy, is what we are like. For us, this is the classroom, and this is open lesson, right? Um, Train the world model first, unsupervised, self-supervised on raw video. The thing is, we could even maybe do something like this. I bet we could distill something like that from an LLM to train a world model we have to define how we want to build this world model, but that's what's going to be our core USB here, is that we're building these um, what parts of these are open source is the driving policy. Yeah, so essentially that's what we're trying to do, right? And we need to basically, that's why I'm just playing with these concepts now, where I'm trying to tool and I'm trying to make sure that at least it works so that people can use it. And then, we can start the session now and do things. So we have now a new button called skip to button. Make the skip to button white, please. This for sure. Cool. And so we have these skip here. So we now have a way to skip these, which would be a signal that tells the model that maybe that plan, in a way, needed kind of correction. And that's what I want to test now. So we have skip here, and then we also have if we start now, that's going to basically, it's starting, so it's going to generate now the first probe. And it's asking us a question. If matrices linearly map vectors to vectors, why define rank 2 tensors as bilinear maps instead? That's a good question. Oh, it was a bilinear map, actually. And again, I'm not so sure, actually. Is it actually picking up is it picking up the microphone using now cookies data? I think so, right? Because I have it on here. I hope that it's picking it up. And actually, you can take a look at logs and what's going on here. Skip previous still running. Okay. Storage heartbeat. So these are the heartbeats. This is just debug for me to know what's going on, and this is what's happening. But yeah, this audio being stored apparently. So that's actually interesting. Good. That's good. This tool's being, yeah, it's okay. Cool. So we've got these, and I now can try to skip to a specific step and say, like, I want to skip until here. So okay, that actually it just happened. But it should actually when I skip to a step, it should redo the probe. This for sure. I cannot revert back if I skip. That's the thing. Interesting. If I skip, I cannot revert. And then I have two new things here at the bottom. We have regenerate plan, reset probes. If I do reset probes, it should actually reset the probes here, because maybe I'm just unhappy with these probes. Reset Helios. I should call it reset Helios. Rename reset probes to reset Helios. And actually should, in my opinion, it's okay if it's here, I guess. That's for sure. These buttons, in my opinion, are a little hidden, but it's okay. And it doesn't seem to be working, to be honest. So if I skip here, and then I guess a probe will should appear here soon. Transcribe is okay, it's going well. Session audio, whatever, and then there should be a, why isn't there an update actually? What what happened with that loop? Did it just get lost? Let's look at the logs. Tools. Okay, it seems there's some storage. Oh, there you go. It took a while because there was something else running because I'm just clicking around. Generating probe. And okay, let me focus on these. And why is this is again getting sluggish? Hello, hello. Well, let's test regenerate plan. So it's gonna remaining steps. It will replace all remaining steps with a fresh plan. Complete steps are reserved optional. While you're regenerating the plan, I want to focus more on X to lower the complexity. That's regenerating the plan. Meanwhile, regenerate is spending. This takes quite some time. Can I see what is pending? Can I filter by pending? Okay, it did actually regenerate it. And then it's like, fine, draw a single to matrix slice. That's nice. It's like, think of a tensor like this, whatever. Yeah, that's really nice, actually. Okay, cool. So it made it easier. I can skip until here. That's good, but if I skip, I can't go backwards. That's interesting. But now reset Helios. Is it going to generate a probe or not? Come on. 500. Timeout. Okay, so there was an actual timeout. I wonder if that's a timeout from the model or from Vercel. Reset probes is still pending. Those actually take a bit of time. I wonder whether I can optimize them a little bit more. These are all the data chunks, transcription. Bro, it's still running. Archive count, neoprobe null. Okay, it finished, but it's like, okay, reset. Interesting. Copy. That's definitely a mistake. So let's just see. Let's just pause this. But these kind of like worked well. I'm just thinking. Skipping skipping is something that so you can't be back. Maybe I should so when skipping to a session plan step, warn the user that skipping is irreversible. So that's one thing. We go with 4.7, and then let's say also generating probes. Return these. Cool, but you can see, like, I guess you get the gist of it, right? So the idea is I now have a way to take, it's kind of a bit like open model. It's like a bit like open pilot when you're driving, and then you can just at some point take control, right? And do take control of the steering wheel. So I think those features are important because you want to be able to get out of situations like these where the tutor kind of does something weird. And I think the reset, essentially, I think the reset Helios should be in the Helios panel. So I think as it destroys the probes. That's for sure. And I did have that other idea as well, that I want to be able, but that's a more complicated feature. When I'm looking at practice and theory, I want to be able to bean some of the things. So there's a lot of different things that a lot of different small features that I can work on. But the core idea is this. I think that's the only thing that I'm really missing. That when I'm looking at these, I can say, okay, now it tries to complete. So that's still manual, right? Because what I want to do is I want to capture those moments where I want to capture the intent, right? I think that's an important aspect of these here, is that I want to capture student intent, right? It's like the driver intent. Do they want to turn left, right, whatever? So capture student intent. So basically complete a step and move on. Answer a probe, right? And student must explain the role of the additional index dimension in the 3D structure to locate elements and how it stacks generalizes matrices before advancing. We'll continue anyway, and that kind of moves us forward. And that, resets probes are also when user skips to a step should also trigger a probe archive and regen. That's for sure. Okay, now it made me restart these, but you get where I'm going with these, right? So it's essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to create what Open Pilot and Coma did for driving, but for learning, right? For actual like human learning. Well, at least a dimension to these, and essentially the way and that's my opinion, right? The way we are doing these in an opinionated way is that we're implementing a think aloud protocol. I think that is the core essence of what open lesson is. Okay, so we're now here. So we have y is intense simply a multidimensional array like a matrix to the array. If I start this session and I wanna skip here, skip at two steps is a reversal, skip steps will mark as complete, and you will not know. Okay. It should be an app model though. Can you? Okay, so can you unify all the are you sure models? I think we use a mixture of like browser dialogues and HTML models. I want standard HTML models. Models that look visually the same, similar. This is for sure something to work on, yeah. And then I can regenerate the plan, and I say want to be more practical. Right? Regenerate, and that regenerates the plan. And then right over there, yeah. And then basically I want to okay, that's now gonna take a while, but I guess you get the gist of it, right? So you can, in theory, continue forever, right? Because I can keep regenerating the plan, and it keeps kind of, yeah, working on this. Where is the regenerate? Okay, so when there's no guiding tasks, by the way, I'll go another section. When Helios panel is empty, um, we should still show the action to regen the probes, because we might wanna force the probe gen. I think so. I think definitely that's one thing that we want to do. And here it's doing that. All right, cool. But I think you get it, right? So I'll skip here, whatever resources. I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's good. And I just want to make sure that we gather all this data of the actions the user is taking through these, and that we'll let. And the other piece of feedback I got, by the way, was from this guy. Basically, he said these here. So at some point, the tutor asked me to write it in the notebook. This is where I got confused because I was not sure whether it would read it or not, uh, or I should say out loud my text. I think it's a good feedback. I did both and eventually passed. Got to the next step on my way to step 4. Okay, this is already the rest is already the stuff that I fixed. All right, so essentially, yeah, it's kind of a bit of a trust issues, right? So reset Helios, and I think it's a kind of a trust issue, right? I guess when it's telling you to write something in the notebook and then you don't really know what you want to do. And I'm almost thinking like maybe for the tools that we have here, right? So for the notebook, later the canvas images, and for the notebook, um, maybe there should be a button here where it's like where you're basically sending these to Helios. You know what I mean? Um, like a submit button or something. Because definitely nothing that you can do here. But notebook and canvas. For notebook and canvas, maybe there's something where you can just click a button where you're just nudging Helios, right? Send to Helios, essentially, for canvas and notebook. I know these things are being sent, but you want to give the user the feeling they can do that. So for notebook and canvas. Okay, so wait a second. Carousel. I know. So here, so it should be yes. Carousel. Uh, Linode and stake. No, no, no. Too much. Focus only on models in the session view. Then here we have the, yeah, correct. And then I want to also inside the notebook and canvas tools, we should have a submit to Helios button that essentially on the background triggers an analysis heartbeat. Yeah. So it's kind of a fake. It's a bit more of a placebo, right? It's a bit more of a placebo because, in reality, that button doesn't really send the data. Everything like the heartbeat sends the data, but it's more of a placebo, right? All right, cool. So, simple yes, no. Let's here skip clear chat. Tutor suggests ending with a three-button layout. Informational, single button, blank complete, custom body, original text areas, icon variants, promise based. Okay, let's see if that actually works. So we have those models abstracted away. That will take a while, and then here we're doing the button. Yeah, I'll wrap it up here, guys, and I'll let you know how that goes. Let's reload this and see what happens. But I think those are almost the last changes that I want to make before I do kind of a bit of a long-term release version type of thing, where I'm like, okay, now it's kind of mature enough that I can, you know, that we can push. So for index, because I like these, and then let's start. So we have regenerate plan. Skip here, whatever. And yeah, no, I think that's good, man. I think that's pretty good. Listen to tutor. Oh yeah, here. Okay, I have a little reset button. Let's go. Archive the one current probe and generate more. Okay, that's good. So that actually generates probes. Helios. Okay, I like it. Cool, guys. I'll just be testing this a bit more today and tonight. Once these two are done. I have three questions. So run analyzes heartbeat only sends probe info to uh, back in the store. Ah, yeah, the storage. Sorry, for storage and then analysis recommended. Yeah, that's what I meant. Although back awaited, yeah, it should have waited. Yeah, it should have waited. Although that's kind of like, yeah, it's okay. And then we have run analysis bypass guards for manual submit. Recommend. I'm here. So early exits when observer mode is off or when muted. This is a legacy stuff. I should remove these. And then research says more. It doesn't render a notebook at all. Canvas only. Where should we submit the Helios button? Desktop canvas, mobile canvas. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I think with these we're good to go. Cool, guys. Wrapping it up. See you tomorrow, and I'll continue building. But I hope it's understandable in terms of like these concept here, right? Why is that important? I still have to define the structure. This is going to take a look at, how this is going to look like. But that's the idea. Right now, I'm building a bit of a prototype with an LLM in here, and that's why I call it like a learning harness. But eventually, it's a world model. It's definitely a world model. Cool.